Man, there's been a lot of NFL news over the past 36 hours or so. We have 3 DraftKings contributors here to kind of break it down for us, give us a fantasy spin on it. Pearce Dietrich, Steve Buchanan, Geoff Ulrich. Good morning, gentlemen. The legal tampering period has begun in the NFL. Plenty of reported news to discuss. Let's put a fantasy or maybe a sportsbook spin here on some of the biggest headlines right now. Ooh, Geoff, Mitch Trubisky to the Steelers. How much do you love this? What's the fantasy impact of it, dude?
You know, people can joke around and you can make fun of me all you want, pal, but it's a pretty big impact, man. I mean, you look at what the Steelers, what did they do? Their offense just looked terrible last year. They brought in this guy, Matt Yes, you Canada, to implement his college scheme and do whatever, and it looked terrible. But why did it look terrible? Well, he uses a lot of motion, or he likes to use a lot of motion during, you know, the pre-snap routine. And that's all great, but none of that works when you have an absolute statue at quarterback, because nobody is afraid of the quarterback who can't run and can't throw it more than 10 yards. So you bring in Trubisky, a guy who can run a little bit. You know, again, go back to Canada's, college or Canada, however you pronounce it, college resume. He had a guy in Chandler Harnish, over 3,000 yards passing, 1,000 yards rushing. I don't think Mitch Trubisky is going to hit 1,000 yards rushing, but I do think you'll see him rush more than he has at any point in his career. I just think it's a very good spot for fantasy purposes. Regardless of what you think the Steelers are going to do next year, I think this division is a little bit more up for grabs than people think. And yes, let's talk about the sports book. Everyone's mad because the Steelers' odds went down, or the Steelers fans are mad because their odds went down after they signed Trubisky. I think the Steelers are a good bet at plus 650 to win the division right now.
All right, Pearce, despite a few flashes there, like he did struggle to be a consistent fantasy option during his time in Chicago, but this is 100% an upgrade in the passing game for Pittsburgh compared to the past couple of years.
It definitely is. With Roethlisberger, as Geoff mentioned, he had a statue back there, but not only was he a statue, he would just go with his first read every time and would just quickly pass to the first guy, short routes. He had very limited upside. You feel like you got half of the offense with him at quarterback. Now things are going to be open up, and it could go both ways. You're going to get Trubisky taking more chances, and they could lose more games, and there could be more turnovers, but you're going to have a lot more upside. And one of the angles I like is Matt Corral is a first-round draft pick, supposedly, and one of the comparisons they say for him is Mitch Trubisky. So this is basically like drafting a first-round pick and having an experienced first-round pick, also keeping your first-round pick. Trubisky, 29-21 over his career. That's a pretty good number. 93 quarterback rating in 2 of 4 seasons. We give this guy a hard time. I don't know why we expected him to become a Hall of Famer, but he's been a solid quarterback, and Pittsburgh's definitely going to compete in the North.
All right, Steve, what do you think here, dude? I also know the next question will be if the Steelers can even build an offensive line to protect him.
I mean, that's very important too, but now, I mean, this is how low the bar was set when everybody is singing the praises of Mitch Trubisky. What an upgrade for this offense. Mitch Trubisky is in the house. The guy who's been a backup for, 2-3 years now, it feels like that's how low the bar is. But then you look at the contracts too. Mitch Trubisky is signed through the next 2 years. The other 2 quarterbacks on this team, which is Rudolph and Haskins, are both free agents after this upcoming season. So it feels like this is going to be the guy they're going to. I mean, they can absolutely sign one of those 2 guys, obviously, if things go awry with Trubisky's time with the Steelers, but this feels like the guy they're going to go to. It is an upgrade, but again, the bar is so low. I mean, it's at my shoes. That's where the bar is. I just need to pick it up slightly and we go, the bar has been raised. It's not much to go by, but Trubisky is, like Geoff mentioned, he's going to give them a different dynamic than they've had before. Roethlisberger was such a statue back there. Trubisky will at least be able to run the ball a bit.